I understand that there's a virus going around or whatever the fuck else, and then just like Ebola, Zika, freaking swine flu, uh, avian bird flu or whatever, avian bird flu or whatever it was, and it's just always something. And and like the see how sensitive our economy is. That freaking this pandemic is, I mean, well, it's being exaggerated through the news and everything of that nature. Definitely. Um, the thing is, to pull money, like, okay, so in this situation here with Albuquerque, they're trying to pull money for roads due to the drop in oil prices that are going to be occurring. Well, if we're trying to go to zero emissions, right? Zero carbon footprint, and get rid of all the fossil fuels and stuff like that, then shouldn't we already be having, forming a surplus to make that transition? No, unfortunately, what's happened is the infrastructure, especially here in Albuquerque, has not been uh, properly maintained over the last 50 or so years, and it's falling apart. I mean, that's part of the reason why I have these issues with my apartments and stuff is because these places are 50 years old and they're trying to flip them. They're buying them cheap, but they're not doing the repairs that are necessary and whatnot. And so to pull, I mean, because this place, especially on San Mateo, going towards the freaking VA. So what is that? Southwest, southeast on San Mateo and whatnot. And there's been a road construction project that's been going on for weeks. I mean, months actually, months. And it's like, what the hell? But here.
Today, the governor vetoed $50 million originally meant for road projects across the state. And leading lawmakers say this may be just the beginning.
I was looking for what I classify as low-hanging fruit.
May be just the beginning.
I was looking for what I classify as low-hanging fruit.
Millions pulled from dozens of road projects and put into state reserves as coronavirus concerns hit New Mexico's oil industry.
It was the perfect storm.
Senator John Arthur Smith's bill designating $50 million for road.
The police department. I figured I should have fucking sued them in the fucking first place. I said violating the Mexico Whistleblowers Act, notable APD related settlements included Danny Goblin, a repeat offender who was arrested while fleeing from police. The APT officer ran him over with a truck. And Goblin sued for excessive force. He was awarded $75,000. And there was Nick Owens, the man shot and killed by APD. His shooting brought criticism of 375. He was fleeing when he was murdered in 2014. So there's that's the damn problem. Here, hold on a second. New Mexico couple is accused of stealing more than $1 million from the Cow Baron restaurant in Roswell, the state attorney's office said. Governor announces $1.2 billion in surplus. Wait, hold on a second. What's this? And so in less than 2 years, they burned through that. There'll be a lot of handouts in the upcoming legislative session. We're going to have $1.2 billion surplus for the state of New Mexico. What the?
Projects like $1.3 million for the widening of Paseo del Norte in Albuquerque and $200,000 to make sidewalks and roads more bike-friendly in Santa Fe was the first thing on the governor's chopping block.
Well, obviously that's a disappointment on because this money was targeted for local road funds.
Well, the amounts cut from most projects are relatively small. Like the Vito mixing $900,000 from a $39 million project in Eddy County, building a relief route around the oil fields. It may still set long-awaited work back.
It needs to be done because it's dangerous.
This comes as oil prices make a dangerous drop. People trying to avoid the coronavirus are staying home.
So as people,
So with that being said, my conspiracy theory, because apparently that's the way it's going to be labeled, is that freaking the United States and China are working on this trade deal. I've been talking about global reset and currency. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Global reset. The global currency reset isn't real. The truth about the coming global currency reset and the decline of the US dollar, the scam of all scams. Global currency reset looming. Cash is trash 4K. The coming global reset. Did you know about the global currency reset? The coming great global reset. What is the currency global reset? Update. Let's just go here. Donald Trump is now president of the United States and is undergoing a massive shift. The Dow Jones is at 19,760.46 and nearing 20,000 mark. In this updated article on the global currency reset, I discuss why it's important to get out of the stock market, cash out your 401k or IRA, and get intangible assets such as gold. So this is going to be pretty much a bias, from what I can tell, but there's probably some, good information in there. Just want to see if I can find the, back in 2017, Forbes. We're coming to a period called the Great Reset. As it hits, we will have to deal with the largest twin bubbles in the history of the world. One of those bubbles is global debt, especially government debt. The other is even a larger bubble of government promises. Do you see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going with this? I'm not freaking a madman. I don't need to make shit up. I fucking know what the fuck I'm talking about. And it's just astonishing how delusional people are. And the thing is that they're trying to gaslight me and tell me I'm fucking crazy. Well, call me crazy. At least I'm freaking know what the fuck's going on. And while you lose everything, freaking he should have helped me before. When he had a job, that was to freaking be a public servant to those who publicly served.
make decisions to reduce travel, as airlines cancel flights, as people work from home instead of traveling to work. Our industry is impacted. Cancel flights, as people work from home instead of traveling to work. Our industry is impacted.
As a result, the state's budget is in jeopardy. 39% of that budget relies on the oil and gas industry, which Republicans said was a bad idea.
We were on the floor saying this is not sustainable. We are going to implode in the future. And I honestly thought it would be in the distant future, but it's today when I saw the crash in oil and gas, I'm really worried.
And now, even on the other side of the aisle, Smith is also concerned, saying this $50 million cut is likely just the beginning.
There's another $150 to $200 million out there of low-hanging fruit that I'm encouraging the governor to take action on.
The governor has until Wednesday to sign off on the budget. Tonight, her office tells us they are considering other line item vetoes, but could not tell us a specific amount. Jess?
All right, thank you, Brittany. The governor's office says if she were to sign the bill as is, there would be close to $110 million in the operating reserve account.
So they burnt through $1.2 billion of surplus. It was since 2018. And let me see, where's that? Oh, fuck. trying to find RT Rick Sanchez, because that's the article I pulled up, and I want to give some audible.
In a letter in which he called on the
There's one more fascinating story I want to share with you before we go. Fear over the spread of the coronavirus has taken a toll on the airline industry, forcing some airlines to fly ghost flights in order to keep from losing out to their competitors. What does that even mean, right?
Industry analysts expect demand for air travel to hit the lowest point since the 2008 financial crisis. This year, according to the International Air Transport Association, carriers could lose upwards of $113 billion in revenue if coronavirus continues to spread. With demand down, some carriers have had to take the losses on the nose, electing to fly empty planes to their destinations, rather than canceling a flight in order to avoid losing coveted takeoff and landing spots. These are known as ghost flights. At more than 200 of the world's busiest airports, airlines are allocated specific windows for takeoff and landing. Carriers like Delta, American Airlines, and Southwest pay top dollar to secure these spots. Spots they risk losing to a competitor if they don't use them at least 80% of the time. To maintain this 80% requirement and keep us allocated spots from going to competitors, airlines find themselves making the difficult choice to fly an empty airplane rather than grounding it and rebooking its passengers. This comes at a significant cost to both airline and the environment. According to the flight emission calculator by The Guardian, a single flight from Los Angeles to London generates about 1,650 kilograms of CO2. For context, that's more than a single person would produce in an entire year in 74 countries. Wait, what? For context, that's more carbon than a single person would produce in an entire year in 74 countries around the world. That's kind of a weird way to put things, but this practice is not completely legal. It's fairly standard. The practice is not only completely legal, it's standard. Holy shit. So let's just, and thank you, RT, for allowing me to share this. I'm not monetizing, and everyone else who wants to try and copyright me. I'm just trying to decode and decipher information and, just utilizing my freedom of speech, and not trying to cause anyone any damage or harm or financial loss or anything of that nature. So if we could please work together on anything to avoid any disturbances. I'd appreciate it very much.
Here is RT correspondent Rachel Blevins.
Global demand for travel has dropped drastically amid increasing fears over the spread of COVID-19. But some regulations are still forcing planes to take to the skies anyways, even if they don't have passengers.
While many airlines are offering breaks to passengers who cancel trips, those airlines are not catching nearly as much of a break themselves when it comes to business with Europe. As reports are noting, under Europe's current rules, airlines operating out of the continent must continue to run 80% of their allocated slots or risk losing them to a competitor. Because of that use it or lose it rule,
Where the fuck is Greta? We need Greta. We need Greta to freaking take action against these airplanes. Come on, where's Greta? We need some freaking angry veganistic feminazism.
Are continuing to use thousands of gallons of fuel they don't need, sparking concerns for the environment. The UK's Transport Secretary called out Airport Coordination Limited in a letter in which he called on the regulator to suspend the requirement amid the coronavirus outbreak. He wrote, quote, "I am particularly concerned that in order to satisfy the 80-20 rule, airlines may be forced to fly aircraft at very low load factors or even empty in order to retain their slots."
The requirement has already been suspended.
Crony capitalism. We're all subject to it. even billion-dollar industries.
Flights to and from Hong Kong and mainland China, but the impact of the coronavirus is being felt around the world, and airlines stand to face billion-dollar losses.
The International Air Transport Association is warning that airlines could lose anywhere from $63 billion to $113 billion in revenue in 2020. This could amount to airlines losing up to 19% of their business if COVID-19 is not contained. This projection has increased sharply, as it is up from just $30 billion 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, here in the U.S., Boeing took another hard hit as its stock dropped 12% on Monday. The loss comes after regulators with the Federal Aviation Administration ruled that Boeing should not be allowed to leave wiring bundles in place on the 737 MAX models. It remains unclear how Boeing will proceed and if the FAA will approve its plans to put the 737 MAX back in the air in the coming months.
For now, concerns over the rampant spread of the coronavirus continue to have a massive impact on the travel industry, and it does not appear that an end is in sight anytime soon. Reporting from Reagan National Airport in Washington, Rachel Blevins, RT.
The global reset is real, people. You know, I told everyone, I swear to God, Trump is going to bankrupt America. Maybe he's not bankrupting, but this coronavirus, it's putting the entire country on lockdown, right? I mean, the entire world, I should say. I mean, everything has come to a standstill just because our highly technological civilization has chose to put profits over people. We can see in this excellent video that I've composed how the politicians ruin our lives. There should be no celebrity politicians. These people, crony capitalism is a bad thing. Service self is service to others, and service to others is service to self. Public servants, being a capitalist, being an entity, a business owner of a multi-billion-dollar industry, one must take an interest in one's own community in order to fully appreciate, or to just be whole. Instead, I understand indulging and such, definitely, but hoarding. And that's what people do, is that, people want to get on the fucking preppers. Well, I got on preppers and stuff. But, look at the preppers and they look at freaking multi-billionaires. They think that money is, they can buy their way out of everything, right? And so they hoard money instead of putting it back into the economy. And that's how the rich steal from the poor, because it's trickle up. We have to take, I have a loan out of my vehicle. And the thing is that a wealthy person could go to a freaking dealership and just buy the car in cash. They don't need, but their money's in savings. And so they're making money off of my loan. Take care, be safe, be kind, stay strong. Love you all. And the global reset is real.